Recording in progress.
Jump inside the sub
and buckle on in.
Open your mind.
Because it's time to dive into
2, 1.
The deep end.
The deep end.
Welcome to the deep end.
The deep end.
The deep end, bro.
Yeah, brah, deep end.
It's deep, man.
Too deep, brah.
Hello, guys. I'm Stephanie,
And I'm Stephanie.
and welcome to episode 3.
Thanks for joining us in the deep end.
And your mom's deep end.
Oh my God. That's funny.
It's time for a vibe check.
Vibe check.
It's a vibe.
Vibes all day.
I'm digging your vibe, baby.
We decided every week we're each going to pull some oracle cards to read what is the vibe of the week.
Hell yeah. Let's see what the current energetic vortex has for us today.
Okay, so I am pulling from the Oracle of the Unicorns, and my card for this week is possibility. Raise your standards, elevate your expectations. You have unlimited potential.
Hell yeah.
I love that one.
I love that one too, because this one, it definitely coincides with mine for my What's the Vibe deck. This deck's really cool. Got it on Amazon if y'all want to pick it up. I pulled 3 cards: blocked, puzzled, and healing. So with this energy, you got to move on. You have nothing left to say. You got to just leave emotion out of it and just discuss the business at hand that needs to be discussed. And that's it. I feel like the other vibes of the card, feeling puzzled, perplexed, conflicted on what to do next, where to go next, really leads into this healing card. I like that because it's like you need to just go within yourself and you need to do like self-care, meditation, introspection, really decide what it is that you want. And that also
I love
kind of-
that.
I know, I do too. I really like how your cards and my cards, they do
Yeah,
fit
it's like
together.
because then mine kind of ties in right at the end of that of the opportunities or possibilities are endless. Raise
Mhm.
your expectations and you can accomplish whatever you want.
Exactly. You just gotta move on and nothing left to say to that shit that's pulling you back and pulling you down and pulling you in, that's
Yeah.
kinda... But this is cool because I have this other deck. It's by Kim Kranz. She's awesome, by the way. She is an artist and she also makes tarot cards and oracle cards, and she has the Wild Unknown archetypes. And I decided to bust this one out and do one for the episode. I'm gonna have to read from the book because I don't have this deck memorized yet. But this one's cool because it actually ties in, I think, in some way with the topic. I pulled the Bardo card. It's the liminal, the in-between, the transition. It's said that the Bardo is a place between this life and the next, a liminal realm through which souls pass. Envisioning this inherently mysterious place creates the potential for us to rise above the concerns of this world and see our relationships through a cosmic and timeless lens. We may receive messages from those who are no longer with us or see visions of lives not yet lived. In the Bardo, there is a potential to forgive the unforgivable, to say the unsaid, to see the unseen, and to love the unloved, to let go of all the things that cause us pain. The Bardo suspends us in its spaciousness for just long enough to open us to higher wisdom. Its energy does not belong to Earth as we know it, but rather to the cosmic network of which we are a single thread. The energy of the Bardo is not to be feared. Take advantage of its energy by recognizing what needs to be resolved. Trust that there is a message for you from beyond. Who is speaking? Go ahead and listen. When the veil between this life and the next is thinned, energy is stirring and allows for remarkable healing and vision. That's actually kind of funny because we're going to be doing our session on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I really like that because it really does. You can link it to our cards because, when you go inside of yourself and meditate, you can really get in it and really figure it out and find the answers you seek. I just really like this card, especially for this episode, because I feel like there's messages and I feel like there's a lot of heavy energy for people lately. And I'm hoping that some of this can resonate with our listeners if they are in it right now.
We hope this vibe check resonated with you. Let us know what you think.
Oh, yeah. Send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. We also wanted to let you guys know that if you have any questions about what we talk about, if there's anything that you want to know about the universe that we could take into our sessions, we'll ask any question you want and report back. Or if you just want to know questions about us, just email us at thedeependpodcast2024@gmail.com.
Yeah,
Yay!
totally. We'll do our best to answer your questions and it'll be fun.
bump your questions to the front of the line and let you guys know what we come up with. I think that would be a lot of fun to see what other people want to know, outside of the stuff we already want to know.
Yeah, send us your deep questions, man.
Your deep, dark questions, bro.
Well, deep dive.
Deep into your brain, man.
Into the depths of your soul.
Buckle up, let's dive in. What are we going to talk about today?
I was thinking we could start off today discussing spiritual drugs like marijuana and mushrooms.
I've asked quite a bit in sessions about marijuana and mushrooms, what their purpose is in spiritual journeys. And over, the higher selves say they're like, as long as your intention is good, they act like a conduit. And so as long as you go into a mushroom ceremony or you're smoking your weed with good intention, that they could actually help you connect a lot easier. But one of my issues is that every time I take mushrooms, all I feel is pressure in my fucking forehead.
Because it's trying to communicate. Trying to
I
open
I haven't taken any since I've done the last 2 healing ceremonies, but I'm
we
not
should
quite
try
ready
it
yet, I think.
Well, we should try it sometime because I've noticed a trend. Like I happen to take a lot of first timers through, like there was this spot in San Diego, one of my buddies and I discovered with a couple first timers, and it was so sacred and special and a lot of crazy shit happened. I would love to guide you through like not your first time, but like your first time back, because I don't know, I think it's connected to that life that I lived on the island. And my parents were shaman, because I view shrooms as medicinal.
Yeah.
And because after my son's father died, that's how I processed it. The first year after he died, it was just like chaos and struggle and like trying to just keep my head above water. But the next year after, it was the time for healing. And I met some people that like we just did that, and it was a lot of fun, and I learned so much and it was able to process it. And not only that, he would come out in each trip in a different way. Like sometimes he would curate the music because I would play like Pandora and I'm talking songs that he didn't know I listened to in Germany. These are songs that I just listened to by myself.
Whoa, dude. That's crazy, man.
Too deep, bruh.
But that's where we met, by the way. We were stationed together. My favorite shroom trip, he played songs that I used to listen to in Germany by myself, or when I was on my deployment. It was just really special to me. And so it's like, I don't know, I just have this connection with them that way. And I actually haven't done it in years. I stopped because it really angered me. Some of the people I would shroom with would drink the whole time. And I'm like, you're numbing what is trying to be shown to you. Like just sit with it and integrate what is being, like it was insulting to me. And so I just lost my desire to do it. And now that I'm not married anymore, I'm like, I want to do it again. So whenever you're ready, I would love to.
That's something that has always kind of been in the back of my mind that I would love to do, is do spiritual mushroom healing retreats for people. Find like a really beautiful place and just have, small group, multi-day mushroom events, or I don't know. I just think it would be really fun, but for the purpose of spiritual healing and connection, I think,
would love
I don't
that.
know. Yeah, me too.
I agree. I've never done ayahuasca, but I'm open to it. Like I did.
Yeah, me too.
I did DMT, but I don't think we did, because I don't know. I don't think it was done right. And next time I do it, I want to go outside, because there were points where I felt myself on the ceiling, like I was trying to get out of the room, like my soul wanted to go be in the universe.
Whoa, dude, that's crazy, man.
And so next time I do that, I would probably want to be outside. One thing I didn't like about it is something about DMT, and even with shrooms, if you take too much, the thing that scared me about it all is you have to completely let go, and you have to just let go and let whatever's going to happen come over you. And they say that DMT is, quote, the death molecule, right? Well, that was the only one when I would call blast off or whatever. I was always so afraid to go deep into it and let go, because I was afraid of leaving my son. And I'm like, I didn't think I was gonna die, but at the same time, I would always be afraid to go too far away from him. And that was
Right.
just something in the back of my head. It was weird to me. The only meaningful time I had with DMT was I did it to a song that I made, and it was like the best song I've ever made. And I was like inside of my headspace when I made the song, and I was writing on the waveforms, and I was like surfing on the delays and like splashing with the reverb, and like I was inside of the plugins. It was the coolest thing ever, and like this universe was talking to me, and I don't know, it was just amazing. And I don't really remember half of what I was being told. I was basically the gist of like, you are here to create and tell stories and work with other storytellers, and like you're here to do this, so do this. And that was the end of it. I
That's
never
cool.
really got into that one that much, but I would like to do ayahuasca. The only problem is you have to really let go.
Right, right.
But who
And
knows? I
that's one of
mean,
my issues too. Yeah,
well, I mean, after
I
going through these regressions, I'm wondering, is it going to be scary to let go? Or am I like, have I progressed enough to where it's not scary to let go? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know
right.
how to gauge that, unless you just do it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I've always thought that maybe that's what was holding me back with mushrooms, because I've done mushrooms and I've like, watched movies and laughed and stuff, but I've never had like these crazy experiences that other people have. I usually just end up
Well,
with a headache.
I hate how pop culture depicts shrooms. It's not like you're not seeing things that aren't there. Everything that is there. It just looks so fucking beautiful. And you see
No.
fractals, you could see the geometry, the sacred geometry, you could see the energy, and you could see the colors of the energy. Like when you look in trees, you could see energy bouncing around in the tree. It's really cool. And it's not like it's right in your face. It's like barely there, but I can't explain it.
I did
'Cause
see faces in trees one time, and it
yeah,
was like he was
I saw him
old
in
and wise,
flowers
and he
once.
would, yeah, he was wise, and he was trying to give me his wisdom.
Oh, I love
The tree
that.
was, but
If you look out over the city, it's like you could see it breathing. Like it's so fucking cool, but
oh yeah.
it's not like you're gonna go see a dragon, it's not like that. I mean, that's like fucking PCP, bro. That ain't the stuff. Like to go over there with that shit.
For my birthday this year, we went to Area 15 and Meow Wolf Omega Mart, and I was on mushrooms the whole time. And they have this art wall in there that was like totally breathing. It's all under black light, neon
Dude, I
decorated, and
bet.
it was like breathing. And then they have this like electric tree where all the leaves glow and light up, and I was just like so fascinated by it.
That is
That was
so
pretty
fucking
cool.
cool. Yeah, that's super cool. I love
But then I
that.
got a little overwhelmed because there was a lot of kids running around and it was fucking with my high. But
I know, yeah, I can't do that. I can't be around a bunch of people. Like one time when my husband and I first started dating, we went to a friend's ranch and we were there, everybody was eating mushrooms and we had a couple, and as they were hitting, I was like, we got to get out of here. I can't, like, I don't know these people. And my husband, he was like, I don't want to just leave. That's so weird. He's like, oh, these guys freaked out, so they left. I was like, I am freaking out, man. Like, I don't know. It was just too many people. I could not do
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
I needed nature, I needed calm, and we went back and like laid on his picnic table under the stars, and yeah, it was cool. One of my songs came on randomly that I made, and it was really cool listening to it from that perspective, like in that, like, I don't know, music just sounds different and art looks different. Like I fucking love looking at my art when I'm on shrooms or acid. It's really cool.
Yeah, when I had actually taken the mushrooms in Vegas, we were going to the Illuminarium in the 360 star thing that you go inside and it projects the stars on all the
Oh my
walls
gosh.
around you.
Yeah, that would be cool. There's this one ad for something I saw. I forget where it was, but was it in Tokyo? But it's like this room and you go in and it's this sensory whatever, and it projects all these things on the walls. They showed an image of a kid in there, and the way though everything was moving, the kid was like, whoa, 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 like thinking they were gonna fall down and stuff. But it was like you
Mm-hmm.
go into another room and it's just all these stars everywhere, floor to ceiling, on everywhere. And it's like a sensory,
Yeah.
not a sensory deprivation, but you know what I mean? It like you're put in all these different realms almost. And just
Yeah.
like that would be so fucking cool to be on shrooms in there. Oh my gosh. I would just lay on the
Yeah.
floor and just look up. I would just lay on the floor the whole time.
Yeah, they have like little couches everywhere. So like when it'll show like asteroids flying through space, but if you're not careful, it'll like make you kind of like lose your balance, if you're
Yeah.
walking because you'll feel like I don't know, it kind of messes with your head a little bit. Also, the Van Gogh ones where they project it on all the walls and the floor and then it's like moving Van Gogh paintings. Those ones can
That
make
would
you
be
kind of dizzy
so
and fall
cool.
too. But
Yeah,
they're
I
cool,
bet.
yeah.
That would be so freaking cool.
Yeah, I went to one in LA actually about a year ago now, but they're definitely worth it. They're can be a little pricey, but they're still, I feel like it's a great experience. Anything with art,
Hmm.
especially new ways of creative expression, I'm all about it. I'll support it. So,
Well, interactive art, that's
yeah.
cool shit, and like I would
And then
pay
it's
for
with
that.
music.
Of
Yeah.
course, there you go. Yeah, I would totally. I mean, if it was in like the 300 to 500s, I'm like, I'm not rich enough for that.
No, I want to
But
say it was like $40 a person or something,
well, there
but it
you
was,
go. I
yeah.
was thinking even $100. I was like, I
Yeah,
would pay
no.
$100 to do that. I really would. I don't know. That's really cool. Even for little kids to be in there, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would.
yeah.
I would love to show my daughters that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. There was lots of little kids in there trying to run and like there was asteroids exploding on the floor and so the kids were trying to like jump on them and like explode them.
That's cute.
It was pretty cool. I highly recommend anybody that gets a chance to go to the Illuminarium to check it out in Vegas or anywhere else that they have it. So I believe the next topic we were going to discuss today is a really commonly asked question.
Why don't more psychics win the lottery?
That's
And
funny
so,
because I just watched a video about that last night. Keep going.
yay! So it's all meant to be. I love synchronicities because it's like using your intuition, how to know between intuition and anxiety. But also, people think, because you have intuition and you're psychic, well, that suddenly means that you just know everything and you know your future and like, why don't you win the lottery? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But it's like, that's not how it works. Let's discuss how divine gifts work. It's been my experience discussing spiritual topics with people who don't believe in the spiritual side of life, that they see all psychic gifts as you just know everything, which, let's be real, who would want that? Like, to know everything? No. So the thing about psychic gifts is that we all have them. And the reason for that is because we all have our unique way of adding to the whole. We're all connected and our psychic gifts are that connection. So some of us just have them more developed than others. So then you ask, well, if everybody's psychic, so why aren't there more people winning the lottery if everybody has that gift? Well, the answer to that is simple. What is meant for you will come to you, and what is not meant for you will not. It's whether or not you have it in your soul contract to attain money that way, because with large sums of money comes large sums of lessons as well. Some people aren't about those lessons in this life, including people who can see into the future. They can't see things that will hinder a soul's progress, whether it be yours or their own. Now, you have a news headline that reads, "Psychic gets hit by a bus and dies. Why couldn't she see that coming?" Well, I can't tell you how many times I've seen and heard things like that in entertainment or on social media. Again, you can sum it up with my original point. Things that are meant for you will come to you. Clairvoyance won't allow a soul journey to be interfered with that way. It will only show us things that coincide with your soul contracts. So if you're fated to be taken out by a bus, you will. It's really that simple. The reasons for these contracts aren't so simple, but that's for another podcast. Well, and not to mention, even when you do know about stuff, like there's stories that I've been dissecting about my past lives for years. And I'm telling you, like 2 or 3 days ago on the new moon, I was meditating about something and I was given a download about that story that I've been dissecting for years of something new that I had never heard before. So it's like you can be given and shown things, but until it's the right time to know this thing, you're not going to know it. It's going to hinder your progress. It's going to hinder their progress. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
you
It's
are
all divine
only
timing.
exactly. And so that's why, that's why I haven't won the lottery.
One of my clients, when they were asking their higher self straight up, was like, it would have interfered with your shine if you had money, that it would have like dimmed her light to have an easy path financially. I
Yeah,
don't know.
because
So yeah.
I've seen it in astrology charts with the fate points and stuff that people have. Like there's some people that have points where they Saturn square Venus in a financial house kind of thing. You can struggle with money your whole life, but it's basically putting on paper what your soul contract is. Like your soul wants to come here and struggle with money because they probably had a life where they had everything and they didn't appreciate it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it's all about what the soul wants to do. And so,
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and well, that's also kind of the point of coming to Earth School and the veil is that we're not supposed to know everything. We're supposed to try to get through this journey and connect with our inner knowingness and follow our intuition, but we're not supposed to know everything because we're here to experience this avatar. And our guide to get through this is our intuition.
okay, so I wanted to discuss intuition. I wanted to explain how intuition works and how to differentiate between intuition and anxiety. And so this was actually a lesson I learned a couple years ago. In fact, I would go on a date with my husband and we would drop our daughter off at her grandma's, and I would just have like this overwhelming feeling like something bad's going to happen, or what if we can't get back to her in time, or la 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 la. And it would be this premonition out of nowhere. And so I always thought it was intuition, and I would get really worked up about it. I mean, obviously not on the outside, I would just be stewing on the inside about it. As my night progressed, it would go out of my consciousness and it's whatever. Well, meanwhile, in my life daily, you know, while this is going on, I guess you could say, I would have random blips of stuff. Let's say I would be thinking about like the color blue. I would be going along the freeway and I would see an overpass and they would say, "Do you want to paint your house blue?" You know what I mean? It'd be an ad for like a painting company, you know what I mean? But it would be like blue. And I'm like, okay, what the hell is that? Like, what do I do with that? Like, I know it was an intuitive thing. So how is this going to help me in my journey? You know what I mean? Because when I do want to sit down and actually use my intuition, that's when I need these kind of premonitions, the universe, like, what the
Right.
hell is this? And then
Yeah.
I would see synchronicities and I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this? You know? Then I started to slowly realize the universe is trying to show you what your intuition feels like.
Whoa,
So when
dude.
you're getting a message, it's trying to show you what that feels like. So when you're driving down the road, you're in a relaxed state. Well, sometimes when I'm driving down the road, I'm in a relaxed state.
Yeah.
A better one is if you're like thinking about a phrase or a song and then you change the channel and that song's playing. You know what I mean? That's a better
Right.
one. So for the universe to teach this to you, it's trying to show you, okay, you're in a relaxed state. There's nothing else on your mind. It comes from a still small place. It doesn't yell at you. It doesn't grab you. It doesn't give you anxiety. It's just whispers
Which is
to
what
you.
people want. People want a message that's yelling at them. They'll ignore all the subtle little signs
Oh yeah.
around them because it's not signy enough for them.
I know.
I
I'm
need
the
a
king.
signier
I
sign.
need a signier sign, please. Like I could have neon lights saying, "Stephanie, this is where you're meant to be." And I'm like, well, I'm thinking maybe I should ask again.
Right, right. I just don't know.
2 out of 3. 2 out of 3.
No, I feel you. I'm the same way. It's interesting though that you use driving down the road because that actually is a really good example. You know, some of my best downloads I get either in the shower or driving down the road.
Me
Is there
too.
something about driving? My brain goes on autopilot because it doesn't take a whole lot of my thought process. So I kind of go into a weird channeling state. Sometimes I even can like totally go somewhere else but still be driving.
Oh yeah,
I know
autopilot on, yeah, you're
that, but
autopilot
I'll
and
be
you're,
like in a
yeah.
different place on the planet and
Mhm.
driving right now, you know,
Yeah.
at the same time.
I know. And our listeners can identify, so don't come at us with, "That's so unsafe." You do it too.
But yeah, but you know, it's crazy that the messages that do come through. And I guess, yeah, that is a great lesson of put down your freaking phones for a few minutes. You're driving, your hands are busy, you're just thinking and let the messages come through. That's how they come through, you know?
Well, and that's the thing is like if you want answers to your questions, like so like when I first started like really waking up to like the universe and spirituality and stuff, I remember when I lived in San Diego, I used to sit out on my patio at night and I was like addicted to that stupid Zynga poker game, you know, and I would sit there and smoke pot and have some wine and in between hands and stuff, I used to like take a hit and then I'd look in the sky and I would just wonder about stuff. I don't know, I would just ask myself questions or I would just think about stuff. And then over time, like the answers to those things would start coming through in the weirdest way, like casually in someone's conversation, or I'd be watching a show and the answer would come through, or an article I read. That's when I first got a taste of how the universe is communicating with me. And they're trying to give me things and answer my questions in ways that I understand. And then it was built on that with my intuition was next. And that's when I learned the difference between intuition and anxiety. And that one actually took a long time to learn because I mean, I had massive anxiety like for years, like crippling anxiety for years. And then once I actually started to learn the difference between intuition and anxiety was when I started to really get rid of the anxiety because I started following my joy.
So one of my favorite sessions that I have done to date is a session that turned out being a shared incarnation with a friend of mine where we regress to Lemuria and we're essentially in a battle scene with what we originally thought were Atlanteans, but came to find out later were with an alien species that rode in ships that were individual ships for one person, and they were in the shape of a star. And they came down and attacked us and had a weapon that basically detonated the volcano that we were living in. Our society lived inside lava tubes inside of old volcanoes that were inactive, but this alien species was able to detonate the volcano, which made us all come out. And there were all of these escape pods in the lava tubes of the volcano that our people, the ones that were young enough and able enough that could get to the escape pods, were all supposed to individually escape and go to the new safe place. The new safe place ended up being Mount Shasta here in California, or what is now known as the city of Telos or Telos underneath Mount Shasta, which is a controversial topic in itself. During our channeling sessions about Mount Shasta and learning about the city underneath, we also talked a lot about the UFO activity in Mount Shasta. There's a lot of people that talk about seeing spacecraft come in and out of there a lot. And so we found out that there's actually a portal off to the side of Mount Shasta. Essentially, they described Shasta as being kind of like more of like a Hollywood set, and the entire depiction of it is there to hide this portal, but it's kind of like, it was wild, but they said it was like a checkpoint, kind of like a train station, if you will, for various craft to hop around Earth. So once they come into our planet, they can use this checkpoint to go into and come out at other checkpoints around Earth. The other
So
checkpoints,
like airports and stuff.
Yep,
Basically,
exactly.
yeah.
And they said that the Lumerians actually aren't even the ones, they have craft, but they don't use it. They're hidden underneath the mountain. But the mountain itself has such high energy, which is arguably possibly because of the crystal technology that is in Telos still. But there's such a high energy there that it creates this portal and they can use it. They said that there is a portal probably around the Bermuda Triangle. There's one in the desert, any kind of high activity areas that you think of UFOs being affiliated with essentially are the different points that you can connect to from this portal over Mount Shasta.
Oh wow, that is so crazy. I love like portal. Like, I watched the couple documentaries about portals on the Gaia channel, and it's that whole subject fascinates me because they would talk about the native tribes in like the Southwest states and stuff that lived in the cliff. They would talk about how their cliff drawings would depict them going in to these caves, and it was like a portal. What they discovered about this civilization is they were able to survive cataclysmic events like what took out Atlantis, because they went inside of these portals in the cliffs and they would come out when it was safe. These new tribes that were there looked at them like they were gods because they just appeared out of these caves. But in reality, they were saying that there was portals in there, and that's how they survived, is they went through a portal. Now where they went, that's a whole other story, you know? But I don't know. I'm just so fascinated by the subject. I honestly, this is such a weird, controversial thing to say, but I honestly don't feel like the Iraq War had anything to do with oil. There's a lot of activity in that area of the globe with like Egypt and the pyramids and the way the pyramids are and the mathematics of all that. There's also activity in the middle, like everywhere over there. And I just feel like it's to control the portals. I don't feel like it's to control the world's money or oil. I feel like it's deeper than even that. I feel like it's too deep, bro.
Right.
I do feel like even the pyramids, they found that there's water in there, like for the crystal energy, like to be used as a conductor, you know, like there's the math
Well,
of
the water used to come right up to the pyramids, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's inside. Like they were saying that there's water inside of it, and or no, I believe it's below it or something. It's been so long, so I shouldn't be speaking on this because it's been so long since I watched it, but it was so fucking fascinating to me.
Yeah.
But they were saying like even the math of the pyramid, the size of it, like if you do all this math, it's like even the same as the mass of the Earth. And then like the distance between each pyramid is like in Orion's belt. And then even the distance between the pyramid groupings on Earth, I'm talking Egypt, the Mayan, and then like another one I can't remember. Those are also the distance of Orion's belt. You know, it's like there's something to all of that. And I feel like even the activity at Stonehenge, like at certain times of the year, there's a portal that opens, you know, because the way the sun goes through those rocks and shit, like I believe in all. I love it. The subject of portals fascinates me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard like some of them will be open for years, but then close, like they're only temporarily open for certain hundreds or thousands of years. Some of my channeling sessions, people have said, "Oh yeah, there was a portal, like the doorway that's in the desert." I can't quite remember where it is, but I've
in
heard
Sedona, there's a lot of activity. I believe there's a portal in Sedona. I do know that Sedona is very active with portals.
Well, in
People talk about it
Sedona,
all the time that have been there. I've talked to people who have talked about it. It's like the energy, the grid, even like I can't explain it.
there's something having to do with Bashar being located above Sedona, also in an alternate universe. And Bashar absolutely fascinates me, though, the information that he brings through.
Oh yeah, that's I've been listening to the stuff you've sent me, and it's fascinating to me how he does it. Like, but at the same time, I kind of had this thought. I was like, huh. Like, is Sedona active just because there's portals, or is it because there's this guy hanging out right above this one spot, and it's the energy, like when something's over the water and there's like the energy, you know what I mean, coming, or like a ripple effect or so. I mean, like, what if that's really why they're so active right there? Is because that it's connected, man.
We should ask in the session.
We should. Let me put it in my notes.
I love the idea of disclosure. The year before the pandemic, I went to Alien Con in LA and went to all different kinds of symposiums, ranging from psychic channeling to that was when the Tic Tac videos were released, the Tic Tacs off the coast of San Diego, and the Tic Tac ship. And also the same time, videos were released of the fighter pilots, I want to say off the East Coast somewhere. And then they were also discovering a bunch of stuff in Antarctica at the time. And everyone was so excited that disclosure would hopefully be coming soon. But the whole concept of being able to have open contact with other species of aliens really excites me, and I look forward to it.
I love it. Yeah. That kind of stuff fascinates me so much. Like There was one time we were camping. I was sitting in the hammock and we were smoking a joint and we were talking about aliens. And we were like, how funny would it be if we saw something, you know? And because we were out in the middle of nowhere, so it was like perfect. The stars were like really bright that night. And we saw what looked like an airplane and it's going straight. And then it just does this square shaped pattern around a star, it looked like. And then it keeps going. And I'm like, did you see that? And he's like, yeah. He's like, did you see that? I'm like, yes, I just said that to you. It looks like this little alien was just boop, 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 boop. And then around a star and then just kept going. I'm like, okay.
Like an old Atari game, like in a
Yeah.
square. Like
Yeah, it was so funny. Oh my gosh. And I was like, but we can't tell anybody the story because they're like, oh, it's because you're high. It's like, yeah, because you see shit that's not there when you're high.
No, I've actually had, which, could arguably be government ships as well, but I have seen a giant triangular shaped metal ship in broad daylight in southern Humboldt over the freeway and had it completely go invisible right before my eyes.
Dude, I've heard stories of people seeing shit like that when they're driving on the 5 going from NorCal to SoCal. And I'm like, every time I go on that freeway, I'm always like, please, I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it. But
well, there's a lot of
anything.
activity like around Garberville, southern Humboldt.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was right before Garberville coming from Eureka, came around a corner, the ship was right there. I reached for my phone and it was gone. But it was so big, like it was partially hidden by the hill that I was coming around. So I probably only saw like a third or 2/3 of it. It wasn't like smooth metal. It had like detail in it, like shapes or texture, but not really flat and shiny or anything like that. But yeah,
No, I know
disappeared just as quick as I saw it, but just like went invisible.
Whoa, dude. That's crazy, man.
Too deep, right?
I've seen quite a bit of in these cow fields because I live around the cow fields between Eureka and Arcata in the safety corridor. And I have seen on 3-4 different occasions light orbs of all different colors, red, green, orange, in the fields driving home. In fact, my husband just saw one like last week driving to work, a really big one, and then it flashed the whole field and was gone right next to him.
Well, it's funny you say that, the aliens over cow fields, because I literally, like, for the last couple weeks, I've been talking about how I want to do a painting of a field with cows in it and have an alien ship in there. I like to do, like, if I'm doing something normal, I have to throw in something weird. I just love it. I have to do the weird thing, you know? And I joked too. I was like, plus I think aliens like steak. So they're picking out a cow. But I was just joking about how aliens actually love cows, but then you just said that. That is so funny. Like, funny synchronicities.
And it's happened so many times.
But that is funny, like, because I've been talking about that for a couple weeks now, and then you say that. That's really funny.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that's on my list for the next session that I had was if one of us has a connection to the mission of like the Greys and how they're abducting and using our DNA to reintroduce their DNA back into our species to create the sixth master race.
Whoa, dude, that's crazy, man.
Too deep, right? What?
You don't know about this?
I've heard different conspiracies about certain things with the alien races, and I'm just now coming into all that kind of stuff. Like because I kind of skimmed the surface. You know how it is waking up to like what's really going on. You know,
right.
You get a little deeper, get a little deeper, get a little deeper, whatever. But like I first heard that about the whole idea about aliens creating Earth and like all this other whatever, and then I started listening to what Dolores was saying about it, and it was fascinating. I had no idea, and it was just in her channeling sessions so the whole subject of aliens and what's really going on with the alien, because I don't feel like it's a sinister thing either. I feel like they definitely are, they watch us, they watch over us, they protect us, but I feel like they also are fascinated by us. They study us, they like live among us, and I also, one of the things that I found fascinating that in one of Dolores's sessions is she said that not just any alien can come here because we're in such such a infantile point in our race's evolution
Yeah.
that not just anyone can come here, and we can't just go be in space and be mingling with the other races because we're too immature for that shit. And like
Yeah.
our mindset is like cancer to a fucking healthy, well-oiled machine, you know what I mean? So, which is the
Right.
universe, you know what I mean? Well, not just anybody can come here. Like, you have to have a reason to come here. So when people are like, "Oh, we're gonna have this alien invasion," and I'm like, "No, we're not. Like, that's not gonna happen." But I mean, if you see that, then just know that that's Project Bluebeam.
Yeah. So the Prime Directive is a legit real thing. Like, so the Prime Directive from Star Trek that aliens can't really come here because we are too young in our evolution, that their presence would cause chaos in our society, is a legit and real thing. They really can't come here and interact with us without facing like
Well, it's
consequences. Have you heard that a lot of Star Trek, a lot of the concepts and the ideas and the storylines in Star Trek were really based on truth from a channeling session from like a intergalactic council that the writer was able to sit in on.
That's so fascinating to me, mainly because like that was a show we watched as a family. I grew up on Star Trek, so that that whole thing is fascinating to me. I love that, and also
Yeah.
even the I've heard stuff about like X-Files being like straight out of fucking actual X-Files, you know, like
Oh,
actual,
interesting.
like there's truth behind all that stuff too.
Like maybe like MUFON files or something like that, or maybe files from Project Blue Book.
Yeah,
I guess it would make sense. I never knew that about X-Files, but I used to really love it. But
I know we watched
the main
that
one
shit
that I knew
too.
about, I had a friend in Australia. We called each other Agent Scully and Agent Mulder. I was Mulder.
I had the biggest crush on him when I watched that show as a girl. I thought he was so cute.
So I think I told you a little bit about this before. So Bashar and the Interstellar Alliance are doing a social experiment where they are inviting anybody who wants to participate. And the goal of this experiment is to encourage open contact with aliens. And so each month they are doing a transmission of recommendations that people can do to participate in hopes to get Earth ready to move to a period of open contact. So they have done 3 transmissions now. The first one was don't feed into any conspiracy theories. Don't give them any of your energy, whether you believe them to be true or not. The second one was about grounding and meditating at least 30 minutes a day and connecting more so that it will be easier for communication. And then the most recent transmission that just came out was talking about contacting your local officials and requesting disclosure.
That's cool. I just find the whole thing funny in the first place. I think disclosure to me, for me to want quote disclosure, I don't need to be told that aliens are real. Like, hello, of course they are. Like,
Right.
as many planets there are out there in the universe, that this is the only one that has life on it. Like, shut up.
It blows my mind to actually
Yeah.
talk to people that really truly believe that.
I know it blows my mind too. I'm like, are you for real? Like, is this real? Am I on a show?
We are on a show. We're on the deep end.
Yeah, we are on a show. We're on the deep end, bitch. I find it funny, like what disclosure for me, but maybe this is what it is for everybody, I guess. I don't know, but I just want to know what is really going on and like with the aliens. There's all these rumors like, oh, they walk among us. I kind of figure how they travel and stuff because everybody thinks they just go through the atmosphere and la la la. Like, no, they just appear, like they go through portals because it's like they travel using energy. So it's like they
Right.
match the vibration of our energy field. And that's why you can see them, is because they've lowered their vibration so much because our vibration here is very low. Like they don't
Yeah.
that's another thing, is they don't like coming here because the vibration of Earth is so low. So it's very dense here. It's heavy. And
Yeah.
But anyway, that's how they travel, is they match their frequency with where they're going. Because I kept hearing this over the years. Oh, think of everything as energy, frequency, vibration. But it really is. You have to think about it in frequency. Like, it's all waves, man.
It's deep, man.
Too deep, bruh.
So I just recently saw this TikTok video and they were talking about jumping dimensions and parallel timelines. And they were saying, now I guess this could be a conspiracy theory, but this channeler was talking about it matter of factly that JFK actually did disclose all the information about what's happening behind the scenes with UFOs, and our society turned into such chaos that they had to basically jump dimensions and fix everything and go back and claim that it never happened and that he got shot.
Whoa, dude, that's
Whoa.
crazy.
I know that's what's crazy to me is like I feel like they put some of this shit in movies because you have to be honest in this realm. You can't hide anything. You have to be real. So they put it in this and they frame it as a joke or as a movie so that you think it's fake, but they're really disclosing what's really going on. And
Yeah.
and some of these superhero movies, I mean, shit, Doctor Strange, the way he played with time and all that shit, you know, and like I totally believe that that's possible because
Right.
because the deeper you go, because you gotta question every fucking thing, and I don't mean question everything as like to prove it wrong. I mean, if you want to, you can, if you want to go through that energy, but question the shit you already know, like go deeper into it, like keep going into it just as deep as you can get.
It's deep, man.
And it's just crazy the shit you find. And I feel like at this point, anything is possible. All the mind bending stuff with like dimensions and even, I mean, if portals are possible, of course it's possible to jump dimensions and timelines and all that shit. And that also begs the question of how many times do you think society was Men in Black like that when
Right.
JFK got shot? You know what I mean? Like,
Whoa, dude, that's
Whoa.
It's crazy. deep,
Too
man.
deep, bruh.
that is really crazy to me because it makes sense, you know, society wasn't ready. I mean, look at society then. I mean, really put yourself in the energy of those times.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if we wouldn't be ready now,
Well,
honestly, the way some people.
see, the way I don't think we would have been ready 5 years ago, but now I feel
Right.
like people, like even a year ago, I don't think so. But now it's just the way where everybody's heads at, what people are talking about, like people are starting to really truly wake up and realize that there's more to all of this, that what we're
Right.
being shown isn't really the whole story. Like
Yeah.
maybe a lot of what we were taught wasn't really what happened. That's why I love this Saturn transiting Pisces. Like Pisces is a sign of illusion and lies and deception, and Saturn is not, you know, Saturn is making you face the truth, you know, and so it's digging up everything that was done in the dark is coming to the light now. And especially this year, this is a year of karma. I feel like we're a little more ready as a society. However, you know, when I was going through the rabbit holes and like doing all the digging and questioning and all this stuff a couple years ago, like when people would say like, oh, you know, society isn't ready for this level of disclosure. And I'm thinking like, you know, I didn't really understand that completely, but now I get it, you know, I completely get it. Like even the digging that we're doing into the universe, like I'm reading some of Dolores Cannon's books, like the Convoluted Universe books, her series. She always says read those if you like your mind bent. And I was taking a salt bath one night, like I was like, you know, a new moon or full moon bath, you know, one of those, whatever. But I was like, oh, listen to this video, and I was smoking a joint, you know, having a good time. And she bent my mind, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, she's talking about time and how time isn't real. And then there's like, and then alternate realities that break off of a choice and all this shit. I really started to think about it. I was like, no, I can't. It's too much. It's too much. She wasn't ready.
Yeah, that's wild when you start
People,
thinking about that.
oh yeah, when you really start to like let your mind go with some of that stuff, like there's a reason why you're not meant to know everything. Like you're never gonna know everything, and you don't want to know everything. Like trust me, it's nice.
Yeah, it's more of a burden.
Exactly. And you also have to be at the spiritual level to handle that kind of information. So it's like
Yeah.
if the common person who really doesn't know anything about past lives or the possibility of aliens or, you know, anything, like just a small mindset, and you tell them what's really going on, they'll fucking lose their mind completely.
Yeah.
Like I get
Yeah.
that now, because it's like even just dabbling into some of the trauma that I faced, this is why sometimes you shouldn't be digging into stuff unless you really know what you're doing, because it's
Right.
not a game. It's not for fun. Like my intuition and my ability to do that past life stuff as a party trick, like it's not there for amusement. Diving in and learning and all that, it's like a powerful tool for healing, you know, and if you're
Right.
ready, like it's strong and it's powerful, and sometimes it's scary, and it's like if you're not ready, like
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. I have that experience in my sessions. People think that they're ready until it comes time to actually do the session. And I can't tell you how many people completely ghost me
I
because
know
at the
that's
last
crazy.
minute they kind of freak out, I think, about maybe what they might find out, which I totally get it because before my first session, I was terrified as well. So I totally get it.
Yeah, I was nervous, but I don't know. I was ready because I've been seeking it out for so many years. Like when you told me how many people really ghost you, I was like, what? Like
Yeah,
it's so fascinating because it's actually a fun process. The whole channeling, it's fun. It's so much fun
right.
learning about yourself and your soul, and like it's not bad. Like there's not bad stuff. And if there is, it will be presented to you in a way that you're not going to know the full story. There's gonna be like, hey, by the way, there's this little thing here. If you want to visit it, you can, but you don't have to. You
Right.
know, it's not
And I think
like
I'm a
boom, you know, boom, trauma, craziness. Like that's not what it's like.
Yeah, and I'm a classic example of someone who has really dark shit in their past lives, but your higher self is only going to give it to you whenever you can handle it, and they always have your best interest at heart. So,
Well, and I used to think that too. Like all I thought was the bad stuff about what I've done. Because when I would pull cards, because I have past life that I like to play around with, and I would pull cards about myself, and it was always like just shit. Like I was just a douchebag, or I pulled about a life I was in the mob. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool, but like I was a total douchebag, you know? And so I always thought, okay, well, there's not a whole lot of good stuff about, my soul. So,
right,
and then I went into my session, and it's the furthest thing from the truth. I was just shown a life that I was devoid of creativity and color and everything, and I was shown that life, I think, to tell me like how much this creativity and art and everything and painting and all that stuff really means to me. Like it's not something that I just picked up. Like I've always done this. The first session when it opened up, it was like really cool, beautiful stuff. Like there was nothing bad about it, you know. In fact, it was funny. The bad came out when I was like, hey, so why am I so angry? Like, what's this anger that's deep inside, you know? And I was like, well, it's because of your trauma. And then I was able to go into another session with the intention to unpack that. But it was like everything else about that session was so light and fun. And I was given stories and shown things that correlate with things I struggle with right now and things that make me laugh about my personality. And like just your higher self just curates it for you to help you, and you're going to love it. So it's like there's nothing to fear. I
yeah,
don't like if you have one coming up or you want a session, I highly recommend one.
yeah,
They're so beautiful. Now that I think about it, I'm like, I kind of want to learn how to regress people because I can only imagine listening to the stories that you listen to. Like, I want to listen to all of like, I want to have just a personal podcast that you make of all of your sessions and I could just listen to them all.
right,
The soul story, like this, I just love all the stories. They just are so fascinating to me. Like just the things that you hold on to and the things that make a mark on you and how you choose
yeah.
to learn a lesson and like the path you have for yourself. I don't know, the whole thing is just so fascinating to me. Like,
Me
it's just,
too. Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that too. So it's like going on these little trips. I love to travel. And so I go on these little adventures with people into their past. Like I can visualize everything as they're speaking it and saying it to the point where sometimes they're having a hard time verbalizing things. And then I'll say what I'm seeing and they'll be like, yeah.
is that how you do that? Because I swear to God, it's the funniest thing. Because when I'm in there, my vocabulary completely changes. Like I'm looking
Yeah.
at something and I know what it is, but I cannot fucking find the word. I'm like, what the fuck? And then you'll say it and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I've noticed that it seems to be the case. Yeah, because I didn't notice that that's what I was doing. I just was like following along in the stories with people. And then I realized like I was actually what I feel like watching it with them, but in my own head. But at the same time, I'm also, I sketch, I draw while I do the sessions as well. So I'm kind of like in a fluid state and my brain just goes with them on the journey basically and tries to help them get their answers that they need. But But yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. One of the most wildest sessions I had was a girl regressed to a lifetime where she was the snake pit charmer for King Sigard around 1305, 1310. And she was a young boy, went out into fields and caught his own snakes and trained his snakes. He lived in the castle with the king, and all the snakes stayed in the cages. And whenever it was time to execute someone in the snake pit, he would get them all out and put them in the snake pit and then put them all back once they were done. And they
Wow.
hated everyone but him, but he had a really close connection with his snakes. He used vibrations to affect them and to manipulate their behavior. It was all
Jeez.
about vibrations, yeah, which was cool. But when I always take people through their home just to try to place them in a time period. And I always take them to a meal just because I'm curious as to what it looks like. What are they eating? And when we took him to the meal, he was sitting in a room with his father and the king, and his father and the king were fighting over land that the king stole from the father. And the father got sentenced to the snake pit to death because he was fighting with the king and the king didn't like what he had to say. So his own father was killed in the snake pit that he ran for the king.
Wow.
And then in the king's sleep, he took a snake up there and killed the king with one of the snakes and
Dude,
never
that's
got
cool.
caught.
Hell
I got
yeah,
a
that
murder,
is so cool.
right? I know. And it was like a murder confession, like what, 1,000 years later,
Yeah,
or
that's
something,
crazy. Oh my gosh. I love that. That's really cool.
But I've had some wild sessions. I've had sessions with a lady who is one of the ancient cave people in Nepal. I've had Vikings, military
I
fighters,
look I want to look back or like look in and see if I have any, because I have Viking ancestors in my bloodline, but I want to see if I actually had lives that, in
uh-huh.
doing that. Because I definitely, I don't know, I really feel like I have like a warrior heart, because I don't know, I had this really vivid dream one time. I was like swinging a fucking huge sword on a battlefield. So I just am always like, damn, was I like a buff warrior at one point?
A culture that I've always felt really connected to is Egyptian culture. And I've been told in the past that one of my guides is from an Egyptian life, but I've had several, like at least a handful of people that regress to lifetimes in Egypt as healers and builders and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that would be fascinating because
Yeah.
I had a life I was told about in Egypt. I think it'd be kind of cool to regress to that one because I honestly want to also regress then because just to know what really happened, like who really built the pyramids,
Yeah.
like what was really going on, that's what I really want to know.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool for sure, for sure.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for tuning in, listening to our podcast, and following us into the depths of the subconscious and the unknown.
Into the depths of your soul.
Come find me and book a reading on www.mutablemystic.com. You can find me on Instagram at Sagittarius_Mercury, or find me on Facebook at Stephanie Magdill.
And you can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook under Quantum Healing with Steph Green, and book your own past life regression session, or you can send me a message on Facebook and we could talk about what you have in mind. And don't forget to like, follow, and share the Deep End podcast on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in today.
Till we can bend your mind next time. Always remember to ground your feet in the dirt and enjoy life with those gratitude glasses on. Catch us on
The Deep End.
The Deep End. Welcome to the Deep End.
The Deep End. The Deep End, bro.
Yeah, brah, deep end.
Deep, man.
The Deep End.
Deep end. The deep end.